this song. We know the answers. So we both.
That is the sound of satisfaction, the music of a man who's finding his own voice, even though his father's is so much larger. Adam Cohen is the son of legendary Canadian singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen, and after years living in his father's shadow, Adam is finally coming into his own with a new album all about coming home. But as the CBC's Joanna Romeliotis discovered, the prodigal son almost lost his way on the road to inspiration.
On this so-called ride.
These family homes have provided me with a reality check.
An artist in search of a muse, Adam Cohen only found his when he stopped looking and went home.
The trick is to be ready to put your bags down.
There's a kind of simple, direct, visceral, intimate, raw realness to this record. I've watched the house get older too.
Home, steeped in so much history and so many silent expectations. His famous father's hat hangs in the hallway.
How did it feel to record my music here? Well, it felt great, and it's one of the reasons we decided to do it. It was in the living room right there.
It was here in Montreal, in the house he'd known since he was a child. And at the family home on the Greek island of Hydra, that Cohen came to record his new album. For a musician better known as the son of Leonard Cohen, it's a prodigal son's renewed claim to a family voice.
Everybody has something that they care deeply about, and getting this record right was and is that for me.
Oh, my love.
It took me an entire lifetime so far to get up to the point where my work was in dialogue with his. I finally have a dignified post in the family business.
And what a family business it is. What enormous footsteps to follow.
Dance me to your beauty with a burning violin.
Leonard Cohen, the playwright, novelist, musician, and the father who would strum his guitar in this very kitchen.
You know, this is where I woke up and saw my dad holding a guitar in his underwear in the morning when I descended. Same thing for the kitchen in Greece. You know, this is where I formulated ideas of who I wanted to become.
Love is the most beautiful word that you ever heard.
What Adam Cohen says he always wanted to become was a musician in his own right, but it took a long time to get here. You would have thought, he says he certainly did, that he would have made it long before now.
Are you sleeping with her?
But for decades, it was a career of failed pop songs, obscure releases, and a privileged search for fame and fortune.
You know, I've gotten laid just by being my father's son, for no other reason. I've gotten through doors just by being my father's son. I, one after the other, managed to squander opportunity after opportunity. Around 2006 or 7, I found myself again without a record deal, with a sense that people were disinterested in me, and a sense that I might just entirely quit.
Almost
oh
as
my
if
goodness,
you
I
felt
felt I
like
was sentenced.
Sentenced to your...
Sentenced to anonymity. Sentenced to never being known. Sentenced to be like a, you know, in France they would call it a regional cheese. You know, like, okay, in your little part of the world, they know who you are, but you'll never be the great one, the one that every store wants to carry.
Don't wanna cheat and lie like a man.
It was a need, he says, to exonerate himself from his own unremarkable path that led him in his 40s to finally circle back. Like a Man, Cohen's fourth album was his belated coming of age. Released in 2011, it echoes his father's quiet, melodic notes and was certified gold in Canada.
I don't wanna be like that, those other men.
Okay, so on the heels of what was my first and only success in this so-called career, I had made a promise. The promise was that I had found my voice, and that I was going to embrace it, this tradition that I come from, and be faithful to this discovery.
What an amazing ride I've just been on.
Cohen had finally found his voice, but success was unfamiliar and overwhelming. He recorded his new album at an LA studio and hated everything about it.
Way down deep.
I fell on my face. I completely missed the mark. I somehow managed to make a record that was dripping in an over-eagerness and an aim to please. I heard and felt anxiety in my voice, performance anxiety. I was like, and I've said this too, I was like that guy who has too much gel in his hair.
No one knows quite where they're going. No one.
The only option was the most expensive, inconvenient, and he says, embarrassing one. Scrap it. Start over.
That's a lot of work to kind of start from scratch.
No kidding. Yeah. I'm in my father's house.
And so, the return home, places he says that demand authenticity and put him back on the track of being his father's son.
For those of you who don't know, I am the son of a rather well-known Canadian from Montreal, Celine Dion. And one of her favorite singers is Leonard Cohen, also mine.
Let a boy become what his father knows he'll be.
It is a voice, he says, that finally feels real and true to himself. But at a recent music festival in Ottawa, the specter of his father once again invited the inevitable questions about measuring up. Cohen, it seems, is still working on the answers.
I'm throwing my arms around a tradition. I'm enjoying the ride. That's all I'm going to say about that.
His breath inside my lungs.
But in a moving song about his father, Cohen does sing about their intimate relationship. A father now himself, tradition, family is his inspiration. And Cohen is acutely, poignantly aware of a legacy he will one day carry.
I will speak like my father when he is not around. You'll be hearing his voice like you're hearing it now.
The songs on this record are, in principle, a chronicle of conversations that I've had with my father and that I'm having or wish to have with my son. They're winks, they're head nods, they're references to my father's work.
Do you feel you've arrived?
Definitely. Arrived somewhere, you know. I mean, the way I see it is I've got a plane ticket. I'm on the carrier, you know. I've certainly not arrived at the ultimate destination, but I'm in flight. I'm going somewhere.
Going somewhere and taking that rich musical legacy with him. He'll never not be his father's son. And coming home has helped Adam Cohen realize there's something very right in that. Joanna Rumiliotis, CBC News, Montreal.